Looks like we got a legend that wants to join in. His future's really bright, so he's got his shades on over here. How's it going, Barry Baller?
Hey, what's up, Jack? How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? You out for a walk?
I'm out for a walk, so if the reception's bad or anything, don't feel bad booting me off.
Okay, no problem. You're good right now.
Sweet. Hey, Jack, I was looking at these NFC West rosters, and I want to know if you've kind of formulated some rankings or how. I mean, we know it's a tough division. We know it's a really good division. But who do you see kind of at the top, and who do you think is projected to be at the bottom? I'm interested to hear your NFC West rankings. We're early, but where do you think things stand right now?
Yeah, with my rankings, I would put the Arizona Cardinals at the bottom. They're the ones that I put them at the bottom of the list. I know that they made some nice deals for guys that are big name guys, J.J. Watt and AJ Green and stuff like that. And those would be great selections if this was 2015. But, in 2021, those are both aging players who are still productive, but I don't foresee them being the game changers that they used to be for Arizona. So I put Arizona at the bottom, and then it's really a dogfight for the top. And I would say, I'd probably go with, I talked about this with Ben last night, and I'd probably go with Seattle at 2. Or number 1, excuse me. And a lot of that's just because of the quarterback. And I do like some of the guys they've added. I do think Witherspoon's going to be a nice addition to them up there with the way that they use their quarterbacks. I think he's going to fit in nice.
And I like Gerald Everett. I always liked Gerald Everett. And now he's up in Seattle too. So they got a nice weapon at tight end.
Yes, that's a really good point. Everett's a guy who's given the 49ers fits in his career at times. So I could see that being a problem for him. And then, Kerry Hyder's up there as well. And it'll be interesting to see if Hyder can duplicate his performance this year. He left when he was in Detroit. He had a couple of, really good season with Detroit. And then he left in free agency and then struggled as a free agent. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays away from Chris Kocurek, because that's where he's always had his most success was in Detroit and San Francisco playing under Kocurek. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do now on his own. So I'm going to go Seattle. I'm going to say the 49ers are number 2, and I'm going to put the Rams right there, almost like a 2B, because I really, the Rams with their quarterback upgrade, definitely I think are going to be an upgrade. They just don't have great depth, but they have a really good frontline group. So
yeah, you said it right there, because I was looking at some of these rosters, just getting a feel for the depth and who's where, and you nailed it with the Rams because, they're strong up top, right, with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. They got the receivers, Matt Stafford, but yeah, the depth is a question mark. And so if they fall into some injury issues, I mean, they're a team that could easily be 4th in the division, and that's where the margin between 1 and 4 in this division is so close. All these teams are good. I mean, it's going to be a dogfight for this division.
Yeah, I agree. I think those 3 teams are really where the dogfight's going to occur. I think Arizona's going to be a team that's going to be trouble, but I don't see them being more than probably a 9-8 team. But I agree with you. The Rams and the 49ers and St. Louis or Seattle, excuse me, that's going to be a heck of a dogfight between those 3. And if the Rams
I really like Kyler Murray, but from what I've noticed, if you can keep him in the pocket, which is no easy task, but if you can do it, that's your best chance at limiting that offense. Because I watched the game. It was the first game that the Cardinals played against the Rams last year. And the Rams were doing Ebukam. Ebukam's really good at containing mobile quarterbacks in the pocket. That was something I noticed when I was watching Ebukam. And they were containing Kyler Murray. And what I saw was numerous batted balls at the line. Kyler Murray's threw a ball that hit his offensive lineman in the back of the helmet. So this is something, if you can corral Kyler Murray in the pocket, that's the recipe for success.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%. And we saw that we saw that play out this year, right? We saw that when the 49ers played against them in week 16, I think it was. You saw that where Murray's a really good quarterback if he's able to run around and kind of play a straight ball. But if you force him to play from the pocket, he doesn't get the ball out quickly. He's inaccurate. He struggles. So you've really
he misses reads. It's hard when you're that short to see the receivers down the field when you got 6'4", 6'5" linemen in front of you.
Yeah, and that's you're 100% right on that. I think that's what the biggest thing that causes him trouble is his height. Really limits him if he has to stay in the pocket. And you're right on the Ebukam thing too, because if you watch him, that's really what he does. He doesn't have a lot of moves, but he's one of those guys who can get really good push, and he's so quick that once the quarterback starts to move, he does a really good job of shedding. As a linebacker, he has that really good shedding technique, and he's able to get rid of that guy and chase the quarterback down.
I watched him do it on Lamar Jackson. He's containing. He was in a QB contain. Lamar tried to escape, and Ebukam sheds the block and sacks him. And it's like, well, if you can contain Lamar Jackson, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, I agree with you. We saw that same kind of thing. There was film of him doing that with when he was with the Rams against Patrick Mahomes as well in that big Monday night game that they played against them a couple of years ago with that huge high-scoring game. But he had some really nice plays on Mahomes in that game as well. So
absolutely. Yeah. And then when we're talking pure pass rush, I mean, Bosa's obviously the guy. D Ford, I have no clue what we're going to get from D Ford. But Jack, I'm big. I like Arden Key, and I think I've told you about that before. But so I'm thinking Ebukam on early downs, and then on some pass rushing downs, you mix in Arden Key, because Arden Key's got some really good hands. The way he uses his hands, and sometimes it's like the offensive lineman barely even can touch him.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is you're going to see Ebukam won't be an early downs guy, because the early downs guy is our Eric Armstead, right?
Oh yes, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to be the guy Ebukam is going to be the guy that allows Armstead to slide inside. Where you're going to see Arden Key and where he's going to be important is he's going to be the guy I think who is the rotational piece with Nick Bosa, and so being able to have a guy like Arden Key who does all those things like you just said, being able to step in when you do have to give Bosa a break, which might be a little bit more often than usual, especially early in the season coming off of that knee injury, would be huge for the 49ers. If Arden Key can continue kind of growing into his role, and especially not having to be a regular guy, but as a rotational piece where he can come in and just go, all out, throw it all up against the wall for 20 or 30 plays a game, you might see a lot more productivity out of him.
Yeah, and he's got more talent around him, because in Oakland, he had no sacks last year. So it's like I'm hyping up this guy who had 0 sacks. But I like him, and I like the way he uses his hands. What about Kevin Givens? What's your opinion on Givens?
I really like Givens. Givens is a really he's an interesting guy because he's undersized, but I think that the fact that he's undersized plays to his advantage a little bit, because he has a good initial burst, and his lack of size kind of allows him to get small and get in between the center and guard, and get into the backfield.
He shoots some of those gaps, whether it's on the run or he squeezes through a pass pro. I mean, I really like Givens too. So that's me, you, Grant, all really like Givens. So we might be onto something here, Jack.
Yeah, I think we are. I think we're all kind of in agreement. That might be a problem, but I'm kidding. But no, I think you're right. I think there's a lot to like about that group up front. I think you're going to see Kinlaw improve. I think you're going to see, DJ Jones coming back and throwing in Givens. They have a lot of good rotational pieces along that defensive line. So it's going to be really interesting to watch that group progress as the year goes on. And since I got you on here, we're talking defensive line. Swan Song says, what defensive tackle is going to line up next to Bosa? Will it be Armstead or Kinlaw? That's going to be, I'm pretty sure that's going to be Kinlaw.
I agree.
Because if they keep things the way they were in 2019, it's going to it'll be Kinlaw. Armstead will be on the other side with Ebukam rushing over there. But, they move guys around. They'll line up Kinlaw out wide every once in a while too, or they do all kinds of different things with their fronts. But I would say most often, if they get into their like NASCAR package, I guess you'd want to call it, their third down, we're going to come after you package. You're going to see Evacom and Armstead, and then over the other side it'll be Kinlaw and Bosa most of the time. So that's what I'm thinking.
Agree. Hey, Jack,
Yeah.
thanks for taking my call. You know, I love your show and I love what you've been doing. So keep up the work, keep up the content, and shoot, I'll let you have a great rest of your night.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words, and thanks for jumping on with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your walk. It looks like it's beautiful out there.
It is. Yeah, it's a nice one. All right, Jack, take it
All right.
easy.
All right.